We know to get an apartment in Denmark is a nightmare. So today I'm going to show you how you can secure your own apartment by showing you what we did to get this apartment we are currently residing in. So before moving from Latvia to Denmark, of course, we could not secure an apartment while still in Latvia. So we contacted the friend here who had a 4-room apartment, and he accepted to lend us one of his rooms. So when we got to Denmark, we registered right away with some housing companies, one of which was Domea and the other one was Daboli. But we had such a bad experience with that bully because they did not even send us even one proposal throughout the 1 year subscription we had with them, and they were not answering their calls. So I cannot even propose or recommend that bully to anybody because we had such a bad experience with them. The only time they got back to us is when our annual registration expired, and they were asking us to renew it. That was the only time they got to us. They did not answer our phone calls, and they did not even send us any proposal for a full year. So that bully is a no-go zone for me, if you ask me. The company that was really helpful was Domea, and I'm going to explain how Domea works. So Domea is a housing company, like I earlier mentioned. They have properties all over Denmark that they administer. I don't know if they own some of these properties, but they are the ones giving out these properties for rent. So when you register with them, you have access to all of their properties that they have all around Denmark. So when you register, you choose which area you would like to have an apartment or a house. So when you choose that area, they are going to show you all the properties that they administer, all the properties that are under their control, and then you will just add yourself to the waiting list. Now let's talk about charges for the services of Domea. So 2 years ago when we registered, the registration fee, the annual registration fee was 180 Danish kroner. But I think they must have increased it. I don't know how much it is currently, but my wife is in charge of those things, so I don't know for now. But I know it can be more than 250 Danish kroner. So once you register with them and you pay that annual fee, you have access to all the properties that are under their control. So it is worth noting that not all the apartments or houses you will see in Domea's website are directly owned or administered by Domea. So I believe that they allow for other housing companies to post their listings on their website. So there are some houses or apartments that you will see there. If you're interested in, you have to pay an extra annual fee. So depending on what you want and where you want, you might find yourself paying like 3 different annual fees under Domea, because like I said, they allow for other companies, housing companies, to post their listings on their website. So you might see a property that you're interested in, but it's not directly under Domea. So you have to pay extra annual fee to be on the waiting list for that property. Now let's talk about waiting time. The first thing I will say about this is that you must be patient. It took us 1 year for us to have this apartment. We waited for 1 year to have this apartment. Now, when you will go and see the houses and the apartments, you'll see a section there, waiting time. And in some of the listings, you will see waiting time of up to 30 years, 20 years, 5 years, 15 years, and so on and so forth. So these are just estimated periods that you could be waiting for to have that apartment. Okay, but it doesn't mean that before 30 years that apartment will not be vacant. No, it could be before 30 years. All of the listings we showed interest in, the least waiting time was 5 years, but we got it in 1 year. Now let's move on with the waiting list. So the waiting list will show you the number of people that have shown interest in that particular listing, in that particular apartment or house that you're interested in. And the policy they have is first come, first serve. So some of these properties, you will say like 50 people have shown interest. They are on the waiting list. And so once that property is available, they will first of all propose it to the first 8 or first 10 people. Okay, so if the first person on that list shows interest in the property is given to that person. If it doesn't show interest in it, priority moves down to the second person. If the second person is also not interested, it goes down to the third person, and so on and so forth. So if you're 10th on the list, the first 9 will have to say no to the property before you could be considered to have it. So it is first come, first serve. So in some of these properties, you go there, you will see 50 people, 100 people. It should not scare you, because our current apartment that we are living in, we were 26th on the waiting list for this apartment, but we got it. So don't allow the number of people that you see on the waiting list to discourage you from showing interest or putting yourself in the waiting list. Now, how to increase your chances of getting an apartment speedily? It's simple. It's by registering yourself in as many listings as possible. That is just a simple way to have an apartment. It is worth it to increase your chances, because the more registrations you have on listings, the more proposals you'll be receiving. So now let me show you how the website looks like. So you just go to your browser and you type Domea. And you choose the first link, and there it is. This is the Domea website. This is not paid promotion. It's not a sponsored video. Domea did not pay me. It's just that I love their services. That's why I'm promoting them. So this is how their website looks like. And here you can see properties that they have. So here you can even go straight away to see available homes. And here you have it. These are all homes that are available that you can register for. When they say available, doesn't mean you can move into right away. You can just add yourself to the waiting list, but without registering, without paying your annual charges, you will not be able to be added to the waiting list. So here you can see they will tell you about the house, how many rooms it is, how many square meters, the rent, and all of that. So you can see most of the information here. So if we go back here, since you are not yet a member, you have to come up here and click become a customer, and here you can call them. You can call them and they will give you more information. So there are other faster ways for you to get a place to stay in Denmark. For example, if you look for open house events where you don't have to register and wait on a waiting list, you just need to show up on the day the open house event is taking place, and you look at the property. If you're interested, you let whosoever is in charge to know, and then they will put down your details, and then later on they will let you know if they give the apartment or the house to you. So the open house event is usually a faster way to get an apartment here. But of course, as you already know, there will be tons of people always show up in open house events. So if 50 people show up and let's say 25 are interested in, it is left now for the person who is in charge of the property to select who he's going to give out the property to. So that's a faster way, and this usually happens with newly built houses, but they are more expensive. Yeah, so what you will have with housing companies, that your on waiting list like Domea is usually cheaper than getting a house or an apartment through the open house event. Like the apartment we have here, if it's an open house event, I think you should be paying around 15,000 for this apartment in an open house event. If you're in a haste and your pocket is full, you should look for an open house event where you have higher chances to get an apartment almost immediately. But if your pocket is not full and you can wait, the best way is to register with housing companies like Domea and be patient. Register to as many listings as possible to increase your chances. I hope you have learned something from this video. If you have, share it with somebody who might find this information useful. If you have more questions, just leave them in the comments and I will answer them as best as I can. Thank you very much for watching and have a wonderful day. God bless you.